Are you curious?
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of To Be Honest. And today we would be conversing and talking to Ekta. And let me tell you something about her. So, you remember Ranbir Kapoor's character from Tamasha, right? So, Ekta is really the Ranbir Kapoor in real life. You know why? Don't believe me? Let me finish her introduction. So she quit her corporate job to self-discover herself, right? And she calls herself a community builder. And let me also, and she works on building communities in Bangalore that thrive on interest groups. From poetry, yoga, art, movement, curated talks, musical performances, and a lot of all those things. And she has a lot of interest in literature and music. And I have been part of her, beautiful poetry soirees that she does online. And it's wonderful what you're doing. And I believe it takes a lot of courage to walk the path less trodden. And I hope this conversation would be enlightening for people who are looking forward to doing that and perhaps provide more inspiration to people to find inspiration in their everyday life and look for creativity and how they can have a more fulfilling understanding of their situation. Being in it and yes, so that is a long introduction, and now we'll just go to Ekta. And Ekta, tell us something about yourself. That is what I have spoken, but now let me invite you to take over.
So first of all, thank you so much, Malvika, for introducing me so gracefully and picking my favorite words. And also this opportunity of interacting with me and wanting to know about my work, which is pretty rare, in the city that I live in, because first of all, not many people identify this kind of work because it's slightly, I would say, offbeat and slightly more new. There's a term that I came up with, eventually to make people understand what my work is, which is I called it events curator and a community builder. Although community builder is a popular term everywhere used, and there are a lot of community builders across. But I call myself events curator because my job revolves around finding the most interesting people and designing a session with them. Because I believe there are so many lovely people out there who have such valuable things to offer. And my creativity comes in the picture where I'm designing an act with them and then putting it out there for public to consume and to participate. So that's mainly broadly my work.
So I want to just interject and tell that this is not something which it's all of a sudden. It has been a part of your personality, because I know you from the last 7-8 years, and we have worked together briefly. And even back then, I remember you sharing some very incredible and very innovative approaches to doing things, because we were more into OD and training and all those things. That's the kind of job we were doing, the capability building part. And you had so many ideas about these team building exercises. I remember we used to talk about it. And before, let's do this question wise, because we have a questionnaire which has been shared with you, and we'll delve deep into all these individual aspects as we go down through the questions. So it's more easier to actually just navigate everything and touch every point. So I wanted to know about, yeah, your childhood first of all, because yeah, that's the place we begin. So tell us,
So,
you're born and brought up in Bangalore, right?
Bang. No, I'm not born here. In fact, I was born in Ranchi, and my
Oh,
dad was in
nice.
a transferable job. Yeah,
Hmm.
my dad was in a transferable government job, so we happened to like move to different cities. So we started off when I was like born there, and in 6 months we left the city. We came to Maharashtra, and then we came to Bangalore. And like every people who come to Bangalore, they come here and they never leave. So that's what happened. We came here and we never wanted to leave because it just felt like home, and it felt very comfortable with education and everything. Like I was also like brought up here mainly.
Hmm.
So yeah, born in Ranchi, brought up
But
in
brought up in
Bangalore.
Bangalore, so we can
Yes,
safely
but
call
now
you a Bangalore
also,
girl.
yes, yes, I'm a very Bangalore girl. I can speak Kannada fluently, fight with auto and cab
Auto
guys.
wala. So
In
that's the thing. So I'm still stuck at the first, in Martindale. That also. I'm sure I'm saying it wrong.
you are, you are.
I know. So we are just learning our Kannada alphabet. So that's where we are.
Yeah,
We are at the beginning steps.
lovely. Way
So
to go, way to go.
yeah, it's important to know the language, and it certainly does help. And I think it's also a mark of respect to the culture and to the place where you're
Yes,
living
yes.
in. So learning the language. Okay, and any special aspect of your childhood that you distinctly remember, especially growing up in Bangalore, and so any aspect of the city that you miss, which is not there anymore? So something, yeah.
Such a nice question that is. It brings like puts me back into the 90s when I was like in school and just going to school and buying tender coconut for 2 rupees 50 paisa.
Oh no,
And
we pay
the
40
minimum
bucks now.
fare, yeah, we have really come a long way, and I have come a long way in the city. And I remember we used to go in the BTS buses and take auto fares. The auto minimum fares were 2 rupees. So I'm
Mhm.
from that growing up
Mhm.
scene in Bangalore. And so yeah, Bangalore has grown a lot, and I have grown a lot in the city.
Mhm.
And yeah, as you asked me, my childhood, like significant memories, like I mean, as a child, honestly, like my journey began as an introverted, extremely introverted, shy, and awkward child, but super studious and all of that. Like I used to
So
score
were you a good student?
very.
You were a good
Yes, I
student?
was. Yeah, I was a second bench student, like not the first bench, but the second bench.
Okay.
So yeah, so I was. I mean, I always had this artistic bent. Although I want to also mention that I'm an artist as well, because I do painting. I've started learning singing, and I've acted. I've done modeling. Like so, there's a whole artist side that I was born with. In fact, which I want to pursue. Rather seriously as I grow into my years. So I started off as a like an introverted child who's finding the safe zone of just being quiet, very quiet, and most of my conscious childhood years were very quiet and simple and very quiet. That's how I was actually. That's
So
mainly,
were you
and my memories.
sensitive? Because you're saying you had a creative bend of mind, and you have pursued so many interests. And as a child, you mentioned that you were an introvert. So I am gathering that you might also be one of those sensitive ones who would get affected with their surroundings and respond to it in a particular manner. So tell us something about that.
So my dad actually calls me like a little bit of a drama queen. I mean, as growing up, I was his favorite, and always like ready to just cry anytime. Like one of those kids but of course not like make a scene out of crying, but just be super sensitive about like a raised voice or something like that. Yeah, so you gathered it right. Like I definitely was a very sensitive child. I am a sensitive person, but now I don't like break down as easily as I used to as a child. So yeah, you're right. You got that absolutely right.
About your teenage formative years, what were they like, and where do you used to hang out in Bangalore when you were, bunking school, perhaps, or not, or just hanging around with your friends? What did you guys used to do?
Sure. Those days, like now, how kids, like these millennials have, they have a new bar every street in Bangalore where they go and they like have a drink or chill or all of that. Back in our times, there was nothing like that. There was no scene like that, and we didn't even have the whole cafe culture enter Bangalore yet. It was not even there. So we would just chill in our college campus, like, and not bunk. I was not the bunking kinds, but of course, like skipping classes and listening to my friends' stories and, making them sing and all of that. Like I started to become a little like opening up during my teenage formative years. And I felt that, I developed a few friendships in college, which helped me like feel more comfortable and, feel safe in expressing myself. And slowly, like I started like being a little more comfortable with everyone. Yeah, so that's how my college was actually. And hanging out was very minimal. We had hardly some things to do outside. We didn't even have phones. Like I was not having a phone in my college, so there was no distraction of the digital, Instagram and Facebook. So we were all still playing games and running and catching and all of that, like silly stuff.
Let me also ask you this, an important thing, because a lot of us during our growing up years, and we face bullying in one form or the other. So did you ever face any sort of bullying because of, there could be a number of reasons, and it's important to, if we have stories, we need to share so that other people can find strength, courage to navigate this, and that therefore this question is there.
That's a very important question, because I think we are so sensitive as we are growing up that we don't even register that it is not a very like pleasant thing that happened to us, getting bullied or getting like just too like identified and judged, for who you are. So yeah, I mean, I didn't get bullied, but definitely there were like that those gazes and those like incidences where they made me feel a bit like what's she like, why is she so quiet, why is she not participating, why is she like those kind of things, which made me very uncomfortable, honestly. And that put me back into my shell, and I would just go to libraries, because I was not that kind of child who would mingle a lot. So I had created my own little space with a couple friends, and so people found that like slightly like why is she like this, that sort of a thing. So yeah, not bullying, but yeah, kind of getting judged for who you are. That sort of a thing. Yeah.
Another important aspect which I want you to talk about is, when did you discover, or what was that one thing that sparked that interest in art and literature and music and poetry? So we all have that, one movie, one song, one book, which kind of just puts us on that journey. So tell us about that.
I would love to. Thank you for asking that question. It really is such a beautiful thing to go back and think about it. I remember I was in 7th standard, and I just happened to visit one of the bookstores. In fact, and before that, I was never introduced to literature or poetry or anything or any of those things. And in 7th, you are just very like small, and you're just growing up, forming your own ideologies and ideas around everything. I was at a bookstore in Jaydev, I remember, and my oldest sister, she had like taken me there to buy some of those engineering books or something related to academics, and I happened to bump into Rabindranath Tagore's book, and it was not Gitanjali, but it was something else. I don't quite remember, but it was a collection of poetry, and I just flipped through the pages and I read one or two poems, and I'm like, wow, this is so relatable. Like, I can feel it, that moment of, I still remember I wanted to buy that book, but I was so shy that should I say that why should I buy this book? If someone questions me, all of those questions were going on. So I made a small promise to myself that one day I'm going to come back and buy this book. Like, that sort of a thing. And I
So
went
you
back.
did? Tagore worked his charm. Did you go back and buy the book?
I did. And just not that, like, this was just one, in my college school. But once what happened in college, like, as I said, like, I was quite like, I prefer to live in isolation and, like, not isolation, but introversion, like that sort of a situation. So I landed again in a bookstore. I'm not a very big reader or anything, but it just happened, like how I believe that these writers and these ancient things have a way to work through you and with you, So I believe in those things a bit. And I again landed at a bookstore and I bumped into another glorious writer, Khalil Gibran, who changed everything for me, Like, again, I found a deep relatability with a writer and with the feelings and the emotions. And I started feeling that, oh, such things exist and these are all fair and valid and people are talking about this. So, those things started developing. I was very encouraged by these writers and I was very, very grateful. So, so these two big influences and incidences sort of, helped me develop that creative streak, within myself. So I would say it was a pure coincidence, a situation like that.
Wonderful, wonderful. And it's wonderful how somebody else's thoughts, feelings, emotions have a bearing on somebody else, and in such a strong manner. And perhaps years and time has flown by, and it does not matter. It just strikes a chord with somebody halfway across the world, or that's it. It's amazing how that happens. And yeah, that makes me feel good about being a writer. So
absolutely, you must, and you're inspiring somebody out there. You have no idea. So please keep writing.
So we were also talking about relationships and how, as an introverted, sensitive person, it has a bearing on your personal transactions with people, and
Right.
especially when you are in an intimate relationship with someone, something as intimate as friendships and something as intimate as love for another person. So I am a sensitive person, so I can understand that when we admire poetry and when we feel like it is running in our veins, we kind of also feel emotions in that manner. And when things are good, they are exceptionally good. But when they go south, for us, it becomes a little more difficult to manage than it is for the other half, who have a way to navigate through this easily. So tell us about that.
That's again like an important question, because it is kind of a breakthrough, like, into adulting in some sense. Like, through these things we suddenly find ourselves growing up with strong emotions hit us from all across, and all of that. So yes, I did form stronger friendships as I entered my 20s, and a couple of them were very strong. A couple of them didn't, like, go as I imagined. How typically you meet somebody and then it just is roses and like sunflowers, but it's not. Life has other plans and things are very different. People are different. So when I entered that that phase of intimacy and a sense of sort of like bonding, affection, love, whatever you may call, well, it was very refreshing, because I haven't felt stuff like that. So it's like, oh wow, it feels great, whatever. But but there are other things that affect your life, your job, where you are and which city you are in and all of that. So uh, how do I say it? Like, it was very hard. Like, if you go back to my first heartbreak, for example, that will help us give a small picture on how we, like how we move forward in our life. It was very hard. It was very hard because, as it is, you have never opened up to anybody, and then suddenly you decide to do that, and then it goes out of your hands. So,
That
what do
makes
you
you
do now?
vulnerable. Yes,
Absolutely,
you're
and
opening yourself up. You're becoming vulnerable, and it's a very
yes.
difficult place to be in to come back from that point. So
Hmm.
why I'm asking this is, or
Yeah.
why I want to discuss this is because we have a lot of youngsters who are in those situations, and they think that this is the end of the world. I mean, even we thought when it was happening, it is the end of the world, but it actually isn't. And perhaps, discussing this and providing a perspective on how to
Yeah.
navigate it. I mean, what did you do? What was your go-to thing? I mean, I drowned myself in tub of ice cream, as that was my go-to. Chocolates and ice creams were the things that I went to. What did you do?
Well, actually, honestly, I didn't know how to cope with it because it has never happened with me before, and it was fairly like a new feeling, and of a heartbreak or something that disappointed you, for example. So, how I dealt with it was very harsh, I would say, because I didn't deal with it in a nice manner, which I should have, because I didn't have anybody telling me how you should deal with these things. We are
So,
never
what
taught.
is your advice to people who are going through it right now? Do you think that
Absolutely.
there is a way out which is smoother, perhaps?
Absolutely. And in fact, I would like to tell all the youngsters who probably are in, like the early growing up years, that please don't think it's the end of the world, first of all. Perhaps it's a new beginning of a new kind of world to you, and you have to, that's the time you have to like muster all the courage. You have to bring yourself together. That's the time where your strength is getting built for the first time, So you have to give it a special attention. You have to give it special everything. Which, when I say special attention, give the attention that you wanted to give to someone to yourself. And it's a very good thing to start way early in your life. Although I missed it, but I somehow, somewhere in middle of my 20s, I discovered that better to give yourself the attention that you are craving or wanting to give to someone. Hi, can you hear me?
So, yeah, no,
Yeah.
I was just saying that that is how perhaps you also define self-love. Then I think is it the way you define self-love as well?
See, like if I have to give the suggestion to youngsters about how to deal with it, I wouldn't say self-love. Self-love comes a bit later, I think. Because self-love is a very matured approach in handling yourself. It's nothing as glorified as they make it sound. Self-love is more about a realization rather than a process. People are building so many things around self-love. No, it is actually a state you reach, and when you experience that, this is feeling good, like whatever you're doing is feeling good. So it's a gradual realization that, okay, this is self-love, this is making me feel good. Let me do more of it. And it's nothing selfish. Like, people make it look very selfish, but this is how it should be. Like, we all should start loving ourselves as early as we can, and it's nothing to do with the narcissist part of it. It's just to identify things you like, things you want, things that make you feel better. So, it starts there. The journey starts there. In my opinion, I mean, that's how I understand self-love, and I think it's so important. And it's a state you reach at. You don't pursue it. It's something you reach eventually, in my experience.
Very well explained, and I think a lot of people hearing this, even not just youngsters, but even some of us who are probably on the older side of the spectrum, we also need a reality check sometimes to understand what actually it is and practice it also, perhaps. So
Absolutely.
wonderful.
I
Thanks for
think
sharing that. That was beautiful.
I always tell this to my friends all the time, like, there's nothing, that there's more important than taking care of yourself first. And it's not selfish. That's something we need to understand. It's probably like the best thing you could do for people around you, in my opinion. So
That's wonderful. That's again wonderful, because unless you are in the possible uh, best version of yourself, you are rarely of use to anybody else. So wonderful.
absolutely.
Wonderful. It's a nice thought there, and I hope more people would take that into account in their everyday lives. So wonderful. So that was one aspect of things. Now I also want you to talk about your work, because as we discussed
Yes.
earlier, that what you're doing is something very unconventional. Like I said, you truly are the Ranbir Kapoor's character from Tamasha. You would who chucked his job and went out and started doing storytelling at a theater level. Um, so,
Right.
uh, uh, tell me something about it. I mean, how did you stumble
Yeah.
upon this idea? How did you develop it? And now it's an
Mhm.
entrepreneurial venture for you. So,
Yes.
how did all this happen?
Right. So I strongly believe that things are all out there for you to get. All you have to do is start seeing them from an eye of, as you mentioned, self care, self love, self, like, actualization, something to do with introspection a little bit. But for me, it has again been a journey. Like, I actually am a computer science engineer who did a corporate job for a year and a half, and I was so miserable doing that job that I had to quit. Not because I had lots of money and I could just do whatever the hell I want. No, I had to quit because it used to affect my health, my mental and my physical health. So it was very unhealthy environment for me, and I couldn't really take it. So I had to call it a quit, and I quit my job, and I had no idea that there's something like this that I will end up doing, because I mean, as I was growing up, I have always been introverted, not interested in, like, people and all of that so much. But now suddenly I am in the middle of it, like, building communities in different interest groups. So how did I arrive at it? I would like to quickly say this, because I mean, it was basically, it began with trying to cope with a difficult situation I was going through mentally. So I just joined something that was towards extroverted event building and all of that. So I just did it because I wanted to distract myself.
Okay, can I stop you and ask you,
Yes, yes.
will you be willing to share what kind of mental space were you in? Is
Sure, sure, sure.
are you,
Definitely.
if it's okay, if you want to, otherwise we can just move forward. All right.
No, absolutely. Yeah, I was, like, very, very vulnerable, because uh, I didn't know what to do with my life anymore, because I had just quit my job, and, like, I was with the pressure of, my family, that why did you have to quit such a nice paying job, and, what are you going to do next? The whole anxiety. My friends are like doing 100 things. They are doing like amazing, like making a lot of money, and probably getting promotions and all of that. So at that situation, I decided to quit, because I wasn't able to proceed. So that was my mental state, actually. It was extremely, like, I had lost a sense of self-image, and how do I say it? Like, I think it was like a depression kind of a situation, I would like to say, because it took me over 1.5 year to 2 year to normalize. So I think it was pretty intense for me. But somehow I crawled through it, and I think we all have that ability to crawl out of anything if you give it time, and if you give it, the right, like, there has to be a willingness. Of course, that is very important. Without that, it's not possible at all.
And
So I would encourage
I would like to thank you for actually being, for, you were forthright. You shared that with us. Thank you for that. And that's the reason I coaxed that
yeah,
question. And
thank you. Thank you.
it's so important, because what you're talking about is for you it was a choice, but right now the kind of situation we are in all across the world, people have lost their jobs, people are in situations and which are unbearably out of control, and they have nothing that they can anchor themselves with. And for a lot of people, it is proving to be what you went through, and that's
Yes,
so
you're right.
that's the reason I wanted you to share and talk about it. So please go ahead and tell us more
Mhm.
about how of coming out of it.
Yes, yes, awesome, awesome, great. So the coming out was actually very, very gradual because, see, I mean, like I think 8 to 9 years ago, I mean, there was no like too much speaking about anxiety, depression. All these things were out of like it was not in our vocabulary, our lifestyle, or we never use those words. So I mean, there was no, I didn't know what was going on with me. So I had to literally find a way out to just be normal. Like for me, the only task every day was to just be normal, like not break down, not have a day of breakdown, for example. So for me, that was a goal. Each day I took one day at a time, and I had the support of one or two friends who understood my situation. So that was very helpful. Reaching out to them, being vulnerable to just one or two people is so important, because you get a sense of where you are when you express yourself to somebody, and that trust is gained over time. Obviously you can't just go and tell something to someone, but wherever you're slightly comfortable, I would suggest anyone to confess, to have that mirror kind of thing, to to hold on to or to express. So that was very important, and I slowly found myself crawling out of that state of mind. And now I was in the zone of doing something, like, but it has to you have to go through it in some sense. You have to crawl it, you have to fight it, each day is like a journey in itself, like. So it's so I would suggest, if anyone who is listening to this has gone through it or is going through it, I would suggest just take one day at a time, because life is too huge and too unpredictable, as we all know now, living in the pandemic. It is very unpredictable. So just take one day at a time. Make your one day the best, day for you. That's it. That's all you have to worry about. So that's what I did. And I found myself crawling out of it. I worked with a company, a startup company that was networking. And that's where I gained my interest in connecting people. So when I connected two startups and I saw them benefiting from each other in terms of business or friendships or whatever, like community, I was like thrilled. Sometimes I used to get flowers and chocolates for with the thank note, that thank you, Ekta, for connecting me to this person. It really has worked well, and all of that. That was very motivating for me, to see that people are actually so happy, like, connecting and working together. So that motivated me a
Most
lot.
of us, we have no idea to reach out to another person. Frankly speaking, we have no idea how to approach another human being, to collaborate with them. And especially Indians, we do not even have the capacity to walk up to someone and just give them a smile, or just say that you're looking beautiful today or you're looking handsome today. We just don't have that ability to do that. And networking is a very scary term for a lot of us. So
Yeah. You've gone on mute. You were saying something. Sorry, I missed.
no, I'm just saying that that's what I wanted to say, and that's such an important work that you're doing, bringing people together.
Right. But when I started, I never thought it was so important. This was like consciously 6 years ago that, effectively I was in the startup that was doing networking. For me, the only, moving factor was that it's helping somebody. Like that was very satisfying and some gratifying for me. And I continued doing it, and I took over the whole startup. I mean, I treated that as my own company, literally. And some things went wrong with it, with the management. And I was slightly upset, and I thought, let me work with an artist, and some artists that I had actually met at my events, and I found him very enterprising and very innovative. So I thought I should be an artist manager to him and support his cause, because he was working with electric vehicles and very fascinating things. So I thought, let's do this, let's promote his stuff and all of that. And I started doing that. And I did it for 1.5 years, when I gained my confidence. When I was working for somebody and for a cause, my confidence was getting built. And trust me, I had no background, zero background in anything I was doing. So right from I took care of the whole branding part of it, the whole reach out, the whole, right from finding a garage to the electric place, to be building, to getting electricians, to everything. I was like doing end to end, like a maniac, like doing everything, taking it all on myself. And that was my putting that pressure on myself. I was enjoying it, and I can continue doing it. Although I was questioned by many people that what the hell are you doing? Is this having any future? But I found it very like gratifying. For me, the self-satisfaction was driving. So I continued despite everyone saying whatever I'm doing. And I continued on that journey. And again, I had a fallout with the artist for various reasons. So now I was all left alone. And that's when I decided, never am I going to like work for someone. I'll work for myself. And it was not, it was not out of anger, but it was out of a realization. I can do this. I want to do this. I want to do this. So that's how it started. And over 3.5 years, I started my own, like venture called Ekta's Gatherings. I came up with a simplistic name, and I started doing my gatherings, fundraisers, you name it. Like I've done many things under it, right from art, literature, poetry, movement, entertainment, performing arts. So my process was basically to meet some like a collaborator, something that inspires me, and curate something beautiful as an experience for everyone to be a part of. So now I feel I'm
wonderful. It's wonderful. I mean, this actually is literally thinking out of the box, because creating something absolutely new. Because I haven't come across. I mean, when I was living in America, there were a lot of experience-based service product, I don't know what to call it, but it was there, but I haven't seen anything like that here. At least I haven't come across.
Yes.
Maybe other people I haven't. And it's wonderful. I kind of missed track of what I was going to ask. Yeah, but you continue talking, I'll get around to it. Sorry.
Oh, yeah, sure. No. It's absolutely. I was not done actually. So thank you for giving me the chance to speak. So what happened was I wanted to tell you this bit because I feel people can gain a perspective through my experience, which was, see, I was literally doing something actually nobody was doing, and I'm not taking kind of a pride, because I just wanted to do it because I found what do you say, being a medium to an inspiration very gratifying as an experience. So I wanted to feel it every time I did it. So that's what kept me going, at it. And then I slowly found myself becoming a bit fearless, while doing it. So I always tell people that consistency is the key. Like you cannot achieve anything by being consistent, by being super personal about it. You have to be super personal about what you're doing. You have to be super consistent. So these two things were driving me all the while. And I have done performing arts. I don't even come with that background. I have done too many performing art bits in Bangalore that nobody actually. I mean, I'm talking about the feedbacks people give me that they haven't seen something like this. For example, I heard that a lot, and these things make me feel that okay, wait, I'm probably doing something that no one's doing, and I must continue this, not because no one's doing, because I want to do it. It was not like I wanted to be identified as this, because I didn't want to do anything else, and I was not insecure about having a big pay job, because I don't want to be filthy rich. It's not one of my ambitions, to be rich or luxury was not something that used to drive me. So basically, I was actually sticking with what used to drive me, and that was mostly like inspiring work, drinking from different like cups of work and curating a mocktail or a cocktail, for example. So that's in a nutshell, that's what I was trying to do. Like I've been trying to do basically. Yeah.
And any major learning that you would like to share with other women who want to become entrepreneurs or are starting their thing? So any learning that you would like to share with them?
One of the things, in fact, today only it happened that one lady reached out to me asking how she can be trained under me for my gatherings. I said, see, it's very hard to give training online like this. The best way to get yourself trained is to do it. Even if it looks wrong, if it looks silly, if it looks like unbelievable to anybody, if it looks like makes you look like a fool, you have to do it. Not because you are trying to bring a meaning out. No, because you're trying to understand yourself. So it's a very private journey. It's very like, I want to do this and let's see how this goes. And it's not even an experiment anymore. It's become like a journey. It becomes like something that becomes a way of your life. So one message I would like to give women entrepreneurs, or in fact anybody who wants to start. For women it is a bit slightly difficult, I agree, because we come from different situations as in our society and all of that. So I would say generally for women, the only thing you have to remember is that there's nothing to lose and fear, because your 20s, 30s, 40s are these prime years where you should actually go all out, and do as many mistakes, do as many things, make things fail, do anything, just experiment as much as you can and be consistent at it. Your results will show up only when you're consistent at something. Without that, it will not happen. So I feel consistent and being persistent, not give up. So you can take a break if you're tired of doing it, but don't give up on it. So that's something that I would highly recommend everyone. I have my burnout phases, but I don't give up. I just take a break and then I come back.
That is how you deal with rejections or obstacles coming your path, right?
Absolutely. I've had fallouts, with my collaborators, for example. So it has not been smooth as well. So what I do is I am very upset when things go out of hands, but I take a break and I come back, because I have taught myself not to give up. And not to give up is a habit. It's not something like a ideology or principle. It's a habit. Everything is a habit. So not giving up, when you train yourself for not giving up, you actually stop not giving up. I mean, you don't give up after that in anything. And it starts affecting all of your, areas of life, your personal life, your, married life, your friends, circles. You start, it affects everyone, and you stop, not taking things seriously, and you start giving everything to everything, basically. So it becomes a nature of yourself. So I would say not to give up. I mean, everyone says that, but I would say just be consistent and take a break, but don't give up. If you like what you're doing, whatever it is,
wonderful.
Can be very anything. Yeah.
Wonderful. I really admire your passion and the way you feel so strongly about your venture, and you're pretty sure in your mind what you're doing, and you are willing to take risks, willing to take mistakes along the way, to make mistakes, not take them, and plow your way forward. It's absolutely wonderful. And I think what you mentioned, consistency, perseverance, those are the words that we keep hearing from entrepreneurs, and I think these are the mantra, the key words that everybody who wishes to get into entrepreneurship should keep in mind. It'll be a lonely and a hard journey, like you are putting forth. Wonderful.
And I would also like to add one more thing to this, is be as creative as you can be. Don't hold yourself back. And if there's something you want to do, try doing it differently. Not because it comes out different, because you learn something new each time you do something differently. So learning something new should be your norm. You should always learn something new. That that just makes you like a different person actually. So that's one of
Absolutely.
the
I
other things that I
completely agree with that. I mean, that is something which I have in mind, learning a new word every day or a new phrase, something new, something
yes,
different.
something
And it keeps shaping you up. Wonderful. I wanted to ask you something of a more social and a more uh, the gender dynamics question, like you briefly hinted in your. Uh, I think what I want to ask you is, do you really think that women can have it all? Does your marital status or lack thereof has any bearing on you as a businesswoman, or in your personal transactions? Or are there questions that you encounter, and how do you deal with all that?
Thank you for asking that because in the journey of an entrepreneur, these things are like a everyday hassle. You can't you can't avoid it because it's happening right in your house because your parents are behind you. Like when are you getting married or settling down, and all when are you buying a house, or what's your scene, like what is your work, how much are you going to make out of this? All these questions on a daily basis. It's been 6 years into this, and I get this on a daily basis. I'm getting this, but you have to like not resist it, but just take it all in and just do what you have to do. Like no one's stopping you. Like no one can stop you if
Like
you're
you've made a
determined.
decision, and then
Yeah,
your decision is made and you're sticking to it, so it should not matter
exactly.
what other people are
It's not
saying.
And it's not people often think that this is like being selfish, that you are trying to like I think most women will feel that pursuing something that you want is selfish. No, please, please stop thinking like that. I want to tell everyone like that it is the most important thing, not because like what your family or what your social like image is, but for yourself. Like end of the day, you have to deal with yourself. Like you will have your son and your children and your husband and your father and mother, but when you go to sleep or when you wake up in the morning, it's only you that you're facing. And how does it feel when you face that? That is what you have to understand, and that is what you should like resolve and figure out. So once you do that, everything will fall in place. Like things have started falling in place. When you for me also in my personal life, like my parents have fairly understood that this is my journey and this is how it's going to be, and things fall in place. So I would highly tell everyone to just you know uh, feel how it feels when before you wake up and when you go to sleep, and that's something you need to work on a daily basis. So
You know,
that's
you
my.
you speak you're saying such important things, all right, and you're saying it all in such a breezy manner, but these are some very very important things that probably TEDx speakers should be using in their speeches or something, but very very important pointers for women that you're putting forth. And I'm glad you said those things, because as women, most of the time, if you do something for yourself, there is always guilt haunting you, because you are taking away that time from the family and putting it elsewhere. And
Mhm.
yeah, and you should not be feeling that, because
Yeah.
at the end of the day, you wake up as you, and you have to be answerable to yourself. Wonderful,
Yes.
wonderful.
And
Another thing
also,
that I want. All right.
once you resolve that part, that bit of your life, you see that your children, your husband, your family, everybody starts to see you differently as well. So your self image, when you work on your self image, everything changes around you as well. So I feel that this is a very underrated thing that people don't consider. They don't introspect, they don't understand what's going on within them, they don't acknowledge it. I have friends who are like miserable in their jobs, but I have friends who are also doing very well. So it's just about how you want to handle something. It's not anything to do with someone else telling you something. End of the day, you have to deal with yourself. That's it.
Wonderful. So, also tell me, you are wearing so many hats. So, how do you
Yes,
cope up? Is there ever a burnout? And if there is, then how do you cope up and strike back again?
right. So I do wear a lot of hats. In fact, just last week I finished a shoot for a silent film that I'm working. And as I'm growing into my years, I'm finding myself doing many more things because it's very addictive when you start like learning things, and I feel that keeps me in a very good mind space all the time. So I would say that the burnouts are bound to happen, but you have to take breaks. You have to like I have days when I totally disconnect with everything for 2-3 days. I'm just sitting inside my house, sipping on my favorite drink and just cooking and eating and sleeping. So you have to do those things. Absolute burnout is a real thing, and you have to sort of come into your shell. Like be nice to yourself, be kind to yourself first. That's the most important thing. Be kind to yourself, and then you see how things start blossoming around you. So kindness to yourself is the most important thing.
Again, a very important point that you just made casually. All right, so let's do some fun questions. Who's your
Sure.
favorite heroine from literature or cinema, and why do you like her?
Oh my god, actually you remind me of Sharmila Tagore. I'm sure you've got that a lot. I love Sharmila Tagore, and also I mean, I like Smita Patil and I like Shabana Azmi. I mean, there's like these classics. I think most of them like. So I like these actors. I love Tabu a lot. Actually, I think she's also very underrated. I feel like you know. I don't know why there's no movie on her or something. A biopic. I would like to see a biopic
Her
on Tabu
favorite
or something.
performance? Which is her favorite performance that for you?
Uh, you mean in films or generally like in films, for example? Yeah. Oh yeah, like a character performance or something. Mm, it's hard to kind of recollect because I've seen so many things and it all gets mixed up. So what's coming on top of my head is like actually recently I saw this suitable boy, and I like the Tabu's character in that, which is very charming. She's playing Cortison, and in fact, I worked on a project on Cortison, so I can find that
Wow, wonderful.
clarity.
Tell us about it.
Yeah.
What is it about?
So it was called The Legend of Courtesans, and what we did in it was we created a performance act where we had a Kathak performer and a narrator narrating stories of 4 to 5 courtesans across different times about their life, their journey, and probably an important snippet of their life. So we curated this show. It was like a show basically, and we did many shows in Bangalore around.
Oh, wonderful. Do let me know when you're doing it next time. We'll probably try to catch her. Is it available anywhere on YouTube where we can watch it? No?
No, not no. Actually, it's pretty exclusive like that, and like for example, Begum Akhtar is one of the features in that. So yeah, we have yeah. I will definitely keep you posted, and don't worry, there'll be many more things. You will not miss anything now that you're in Bangalore.
This thing.
Yeah.
I had another question. Any message for the millennials? But before that, I want to ask you about the favorite or the most memorable event that you have organized till date.
Hmm. Wow. I would actually go back 4 years back, and I would say my first fundraiser that I organized, and I had such a great response to it. It was very moving for me because I had just come out of my job, and that was the first ever curation I did. And this is because it was the first, so it's always special. The first are very special. But there was one I did with Mr. Akumal Ramchandar, who's an international art curator, and I did a talk on art patronage and a discussion, which was very memorable because he's one of my favorite persons in Bangalore. He's a lesser known legend, I would say, and I'm planning to curate something again with him, and I'll keep you posted. There's a movie made on him by Salman Rushdie. Like there's a small introduction about him. Yeah. So yeah, he's a wonderful person, and I hope we can work again with him. And it was very memorable for me because I had him talk and I screened his film, which is called Animal and the Pest. It was very memorable like that. Yeah, a journey of an art curator from being a teacher at a polytechnic college to going forward and selling one of the most like sold artist work, Mr. Shepinski. So basically, he sold. It sold in $1 million. So it's a beautiful journey of that. Yeah. So that's very memorable for me, and I hope to do it again.
That sounds like yeah, a person that we should all know about. And
Yes,
yeah, living in Bangalore and not knowing about that's the reason, you see, that's the reason I have this show, and I want to bring forth people. And it's so
yes,
interesting meeting new people and learning about them, and in the process learning about more people who are doing some amazing
yes,
work.
yes.
Yeah.
Oh my
So,
God!
all right.
Yeah, you should.
And yes, so millennials think that they're the coolest. What do you have some advice for?
Yeah.
Any advice for them? See, you're doing such a cool thing. Nobody, in our generation, or even your generation would think about doing something like this. And yeah, any message for the millennials?
For the millennials, I would say, see, I would come across a bit harsh because, like I feel that the potential that our early 20s hold is immense, and I would like to actually tell all the millennials that you know, uh, understand and do not be like an Instagrammer for the rest of your days. Please come out of your screens and invest in experiences, develop habits that are sustainable, like that will help you get your vision right. Like work on yourself basically, and try and avoid distractions which are socially like glorified. That's my that's what I would say to my kids if I ever get kids. But but that's how I actually tell my friends also about these things, that like my younger friends, younger lot, that. But of course, I'm not one of those older ladies trying to like control. No, I'm just saying that it doesn't help to waste your time in distractions that social media brings. And I would highly recommend for people to just be as less on it, and focus more on real issues and real like face yourselves on a daily basis. Don't escape into things. Basically, that's my message to them.
Again, a very wonderful thing. Very, just putting it out there. Um,
Yeah.
the next question that I want to ask you about is, do you think female friendships are important? It's something which I think I see it very less,
Right.
and I want it more. And how do you think women can be friends to each other, can uplift each other? Who are the role models that you look up to?
Right.
And yeah, those are the things that I would like you to talk about.
Lovely. So, I would like to mention two, role models that I look up to. One is Miss Sonali Bhatia. She's a dear friend of mine, and she's a wonderful storyteller. And she has created a Harry Potter community in Bangalore, which is strong and thriving. So she's very inspiring because the way she has dealt with her difficulties and has overcome it, and it's just a joyous person to be with. So for me, that friendship is very, very special, and I can go out of my way to do something for that. And then second is my singer, like my singing teacher, Mrs. Sinchana Murthy, and she's again like very inspiring because she taught me something, like she taught me like what is the impact of discipline in life. For example, like just going on a regular basis, learning something and having discipline in it. How great can you feel? So these two are very prime, of importance. And of course, my mother, who is the epitome of willpower. And when I look at her, I'm like, okay, I'm not doing enough. So, so that's a constant reminder in my own house that I'm not doing enough. And yeah, these are like some of the inspiring women. And trust me, we do. I mean, there's so much more that women should come together for, because we have very similar journeys, and it's very nice to have that environment where people are having similar issues and discussing and reflecting and coming together for solutions, or fighting it out even, like. But that thing is very important, which is very like rare which is very rare, I agree. And I personally want to build a community around that. I mean, I've been like thinking about doing something around women, coming together and just having safe spaces for them to like feel nice and feel good and interact. So yeah, it's very, very, very important. It's very important. It's very underrated. I feel.
Yes, yes, all those things. Yes to all the things that you said. And I feel very strongly about it, about women coming together and having a safe space where you feel
You
uh,
have created that space. Thank you for that. Like, this is happening because you actually saw that. So a big thank.
thank
You're already doing that, and you're inspiring me now to do it further. Thank you for
wonderful.
that.
Let's get together and do something next
Yes,
time. Yeah. And
absolutely. We will.
okay, another heavy duty question: are you religious or spiritual? How do you calm yourself amidst the chaos that is around
Mhm.
you?
Well, I call myself spiritual more than religious. I'm not very religious, but I do religious things out of like my mother's, not no pressure, but just to please her. Sometimes I do something around that. But I'm very spiritual because I've seen how my life has functioned, and it has been episodes of coincidences, like bouts of realization. So I feel that this is not something that's, that can be planned, and it is something. There's something more to us, of course, which guides us, which gives us energy, whatever you can call it. But I think one needs to tune into it sometimes and drive from that energy. So that's the spiritual like energy. And I do yoga and breathing exercises to calm myself down. I do every day, like I take some time off every day in the morning to like do these things before I start my day. So that's a very important part of my life.
Wonderful, wonderful. And three songs that you absolutely adore. So I would like you to sing those three songs because you said that you're learning singing. So
Oh
where
my
did you run
god.
away?
I'm
So,
just
yes,
shutting the door so that nobody enters while
I
I sing. Like,
trapped you. I trapped you. You admitted that you're learning singing. Now make your teacher proud and sing three songs for us. Two lines, please, please.
oh, okay, sure, sure.
Whatever you like.
Sure. Okay.
Good.
Yeah. Which is your favorite song? Let me see if I can sing that.
Mm,
Do you have any that's
right
coming
off
on your
the
mind?
bat. Yeah, Pal Pal Dil Ke Paas.
Okay, that's a nice song, but do I know the lyrics? Let me think. Okay, but
Please.
I'll sing one of my favorite
Yeah,
songs
that's
maybe
what I
because
said.
one,
Yeah, go ahead.
yeah,
Any song that you
one
like.
of my, yeah, one of my all-time favorite songs. It is called "Abhi Na Jao Chhodkar" and it is written by Sahil Ludhianvi. I don't know the music composer of it, but the song is like initial stages of, I think, infatuation or
I
whatever
think
you
it's
call it.
SD Burman. I think, if I'm not wrong, I think it's SD
Oh,
Burman for the
probably,
song.
yeah. Right, right, right. Maybe because it's very Burman tune. I think the melody of it, right?
For
So that's
Naketan Films, SD Burman was the music director of choice for most of the films. Yeah.
that's nice to know. Yeah, and I love his music. Like he's the melody like kind of person for me. So yeah, but that's Abhina Jaj Hotter and okay. I'm going to sing a few lines. Hmm. Although my classes are in Hindustani classical, so no, like you're not going to like judge me on this, but I'm going to still sing.
I'm a terrible singer, so I can't even sing to myself in bathroom. So please, I'm not the one judging here. Please go ahead, sing your
Okay,
heart
awesome.
out.
Okay, awesome, great. Hmm, सितारे झिलमिला उठे, चराग जगमगा उठे बस अब न मुझको रोकना, बस अब न मुझको रोकना, न बढ़ के हाथ टोकना, अगर मैं रुक गई अभी तो जाना पाऊंगी कभी, यही कहोगे तुम सदा कि दिल अभी नहीं भरा, जो खत्म हो किसी जगह, ये ऐसा सिलसिला नहीं, अभी ना जाओ छोड़ कर, ये दिल अभी भरा नहीं.
Wow, wonderful, wonderful. The only gift I have is that I remember the lyrics of the song. All the song, most of the
Oh,
songs. Yeah. So
nice.
that's my only gift. I can't sing for the life of me. If my life is hanging by a thread and singing could save me, I can't do that even then. So
But we will make you
one
sing
more
one
song.
other
One more
time.
song, please. One more song.
Okay, awesome, awesome. Great. If you like, then I can sing one more. Okay, this time maybe something that you like. Pal Pal Dil Ke Paas you like, right? Anything else that you have in mind?
There's so many songs here. But,
Yeah, I know.
I keep reacting to old songs, no?
Yeah.
अब can you sing me कहीं करती होगी वो मेरा इंतजार
Oh, yes, 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 yes. I love that song. Okay. कहीं करती होगी वो मेरा इंतजार, जिसकी तमन्ना में फिरता हूँ बेकरार. ना 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 ना, इंतजार जिसकी तमन्ना में फिरता हूँ बेकरार. I don't know the lines. This is the only thing I
and
know.
wonderful wonderful
Thank you.
awesome. I loved it. Nobody has ever sang for me, so thank you so much. And
Nice way you have encouraged me.
thank you and any verse or lines of poetry, because you love and admire poetry so much, so this is a
Yeah,
question which I had to ask. I could not have left it out. Your favorite lines of
right.
poetry?
My favorite lines. I actually don't quite remember on top of my head, but I can read it out for you. It's right there. Just give me like a second. I have Gitanjali right always on my table. Sorry, I had to away some time from the screen. So there's a little. Can I read it? Like there's just a couple of lines. Okay. I'm here to sing these songs. In this hall of thine, I have a corner seat. In thy world, I have no work to do. My useless life can only break out in tunes without a purpose. When the hours strike from thy silent worship at the dark temple of midnight, command me, my master, to stand before thee to sing. When in the morning air the golden harp is tuned, honor me, commanding my presence. From Gitanjali, Rabindranath Tagore.
Super, super. And you know, Geetanjali is there are there's nothing to be said about it. I have
Absolutely.
read snippets of poems, but I just wish I could read and understand Bangla, because the essence of it is
True,
somehow lost in translation. Hindi,
true, true.
even in Hindi, you won't be able to get the true essence of it. But wonderful.
Absolutely. Imagine like in English it is so impactful. And I can totally imagine how it would be in Bengali, for example, Although I can't read and write, but I'm sure people who actually can read and write enjoy it a bit more than the English version. I
And
agree
I'm
with
sure
you.
Bengalis would not take into consideration if you're reading the translation. Like Russians don't believe. If you say that you've read Fyodor Dostoevsky, they would say, "No, of course not. You read it in English. We don't buy that. No, you haven't read the book." So that's what
Wow, that's
I
not
know of
good.
my friend sharing this incident when the Russians a Russian friend dismissed that reading
Wow.
Dostoevsky in English is no good.
I was not aware of this. Nice to know this. Wow.
Yeah, so that's that. And what are you watching on Netflix right now?
I was actually, I don't know, I somehow landed up watching some Korean films on Amazon Prime. Actually, Netflix I have uninstalled because because of some issue. But anyway, I'm like I binge sometimes when I'm in the mood, and I watched my last film was Train to Busan, which was very moving. So I really loved that film, and yeah, I'm not into like binging on series. I don't have like the patience. I'm not a very like big consumer of content. I think like online content. Um, I'd rather paint or like sing or like I mean do other things. Like I don't enjoy so much of television.
Wonderful, wonderful. We don't have time to binge. Oh, my earring fell off. Let me just take it out. I think it's time to end the show because the earrings have given up. So, tell me your message to all the men and women who would be watching this. So, any last parting lines that you would like to say to them until we meet next?
Yes, absolutely. And first of all, big thanks to you for giving me the opportunity to reflect on these important questions that I probably like never like acknowledged myself. So thanks for that opportunity. Big thank you to you. And yeah, like see, I mean, this session was a lot more about my journey, and I want to tell everyone that no journey is big or small. Like everyone has their own journey, and please don't compare your journeys with each other or with anybody. Like that is the rule number one. Like keep that in the mind as a rule number one. And I mean, see, once you like don't compare yourself with anybody, you will find something that's probably unique to you. And please, like, never allow comparison and reject any sort of comparison and judgments about you or about whatever you think. Everything is valid. Like, whatever, however you're perceiving things, everything is valid. And operate from a point of like clarity and keep thinking and keep renewing yourself. That is the only thing to do. So don't think of the result ki agar main ye job chhod dungi to how am I going to get money. Of course these are real issues and these are real like problems, but there's always a way out if you're not giving up. So don't give up and don't compare yourself. These are the two important messages I would like to give to everyone.
Wonderful, wonderful. Again, very important things that you said. And thank you, Ekta, for giving your time and being so gracious, sitting here, answering all those questions, singing for us. And some of the things that you said, those were really important things, very heart touching. And when it comes from a real person, it has a different sort of impact because now you know that this person has been through that journey. They have been able to get out of dark places, have been able to overcome obstacles and achieve what they desired, and to have dreams and to have the courage to go out and achieve them. So they thank you for doing that for yourself and sharing that journey with us. I hope that it inspires other people to go nuts and become Ranbir Kapoor from Tamasha. But on a serious note, to actually
कहना
to do
चाहूं बस बात मेरे अल्फाज मेरे.
so wonderful, wonderful, and like these stories which it can happen. You can actually go out and have those dreams and realize them as well through sheer hard work and
Absolutely.
dedication and belief in yourself. Thank
Yeah,
you
and don't
so
compare
much.
yourself. And you're special. Everyone is having something special to offer. There's there's no one like who doesn't hold something that's very very unique. So go find that for yourself. That's your journey. That's it.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Ekta. We are going to end the session now. So yeah, you can leave, and yeah, I'll just do the
Bye. Thanks a
wrapping up
lot.
part.
Thank you.
Bye, bye. Thank you so
Thank
much. Bye,
you.
bye.
Thank you. Bye.
So that was Ekta, and we had such a wonderful chat. She's a young woman going out there doing her thing, had the audacity to dream big and giving up a cushy job and chasing her dreams, and in the process, inspiring so many of us to go out and do the same. So I hope this session again was inspiring, was hopeful, and we promise to keep bringing more interesting people to share their journeys. This is second episode of To Be Honest. If you like it, please like and subscribe to the channel, and we'll be back again with another superb guest next time. Goodbye and take care of yourselves.